Hi guys, it's Matthew here. Welcome back to another video on my channel today. And in today's video, guys, just recently we actually had two movies reach the $1 billion club because we got Inside Out 2 and a Deadpool and Wolverine. Both of those movies have reached the $1 billion club, and so I thought it's probably time to do an updated ranking on all the $1 billion club movies. So I thought it might be time to do that. So yeah, guys, let me know down in the comment section what is your favorite movie that has reached the $1 billion club, as a matter of fact, and be sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends, because that'd really help out my channel greatly. And also, guys, those of you guys that are new to the channel, I do more than just movies and physical media related content. I also do video games and Lego related stuff. I do all sorts of stuff like that here on the channel. So if you like to watch anything like that, be sure to go check out my channel, because there will definitely be something in there for you to enjoy. And hit that red subscribe button, but most importantly, press the notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And if you're not new to the channel, and if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you go subscribe right after this video, guys. Without any further ado, guys, enjoy the video. Let's get started here. So the tiers I have today are best of the best, great, good, okay, meh, and bad, and haven't seen. Because there is a couple of movies on this list that I have not seen, but I have seen the overwhelming majority of them, at the very least, as a matter of fact. But so yeah, guys, let's start off with the first movie on the docket today, and that is the live-action Alice in Wonderland. So now, this movie, I actually don't think that this is a bad, Disney live-action remake, as a matter of fact. Like personally, for a while, I liked all the Disney live-action remakes. But until we got some of the most recent ones, except for the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid was good, but I didn't like the Peter Pan one, and the Pinocchio one I didn't think was too terribly bad. I know a lot of people did not like the original Pinocchio, but I didn't think it was too bad. But yeah, I haven't done a ranking of all the Disney live action remakes, but maybe I'll see if I can find a tier list of that in the near future. But yeah, I think Alice in Wonderland, the live action one, goes on the good tier, because it's not one of the best movies on this list, and it's not one of the best Disney live action remakes, in my opinion. Why is my camera getting all blurry there? Hate it when it does that. Okay. There we go. That'll do. And it's definitely not one of the best Disney live action remakes either. But I still think it's a pretty good movie, if you were to ask me. All right. Next up on our list, we have Despicable Me 3, and I think I'm gonna throw this on the good tier as well, because like I said, when I did a ranking of all of the Despicable Me movies, I didn't think that I think all those movies are pretty consistent. So truthfully, I don't think there is a bad Despicable Me movie, although the two Despicable Me movies on this list are at the bottom of my Despicable Me ranking, as a matter of fact, but still, none of them are bad movies, in my personal opinion. Next up on our list, we have Frozen 2. And to tell you the truth, guys, I am a huge fan of the first Frozen, but I watched the second one, and I did not like the second one as much at all, and And to be honest, this movie, in my opinion, is a massive downgrade from the first Frozen. And we're getting a Frozen 3 and we're getting a Frozen 4. Why are we getting those movies? Because the first two made $1 billion. And to be honest, I hope at least one of those movies is better than the second Frozen, and I hope it's a good movie at the very least. But it's not an outright bad movie, but in my opinion, it's so forgettable, and so I am gonna put this one on the meh tier. Next up on our list, we have Furious 7. This is the seventh Fast and the Furious movie in the entire franchise, and I'm going to throw this one in best to the best, because in my opinion, this is probably one of the best Fast and the Furious movies we have gotten. And I really like Fast 5, like a lot of people do, but then after Fast 5, in my opinion, it just keeps getting better and better, as a matter of fact. And the car chases in this movie I thought were pretty good. And pretty much and the introduction of Deckard Shaw, Owen Shaw's brother from the previous movie, was pretty good. Yeah, this is like one of the best. This is a top 10 action movie for me, as a matter of fact, and I do think it's pretty dang great, as a matter of fact. Next up on our list, we have Jurassic World, and I'm also gonna throw this one in best of the best, because out of the Jurassic Park movies, I think the first one and the first Jurassic World are the two best Jurassic Park movies, as a matter of fact. But we are going to be getting in to the first Jurassic Park later in this video, as a matter of fact, and I'm really excited to talk about it. And yes, this Jurassic World is a phenomenal movie, in my personal opinion. Next up on our list, we have Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Okay, let me tell you a funny story about Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. So for the longest time, I said Dead Man Tell No Tales was the worst Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And I said this was the second best Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And I thought this movie was way overhated. And I did not understand why people disliked this movie. But then a few months back, I rewatched all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I re-ranked them all for this channel. But then I, after watching the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I'm all like, this movie is flat out horrible. This movie downgrades from the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and to be honest, nowadays I actually think that this movie is the worst Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And with that said, though, I am going to throw this one on the bad tier, because I did not particularly care for this movie at all whatsoever, and it's by far the worst Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But speaking of Pirates of the Caribbean, next up on our list we have Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. I have to put this one in best to the best, because, to be honest, this movie and the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie are neck and neck for me as the best Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I love At World's End. That I thought that was a pretty good movie, and yeah, with Curse of the Black Pearl was a great movie. Dead Man's Chest was also a great movie, and At World's End was also a great movie as well. Like, all three of those movies can go back and forth for me, though, and and yeah, because that's how good the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies are. Is that one of those, depending on the day, I could say one of those is the best Pirates of the Caribbean movie. That's how good that trilogy is, in my opinion. And yeah, I really do like Dead Man's Chest, and it is by far probably like the best pirate movie of all time. But there's not too many movies about pirates. I kind of wish they did more, though. Next up, we have Skyfall, this is the first one that I have not seen. And next up on our list, we have Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I think for now, I am going to put this one at the top of best to the best, because I am a huge fan of the prequel trilogy when it comes to Star Wars. And I love the original trilogy as well. And yeah. The first one in the prequel trilogy, The Phantom Menace, is a pretty good movie in my opinion. And to be honest, I hope we get more prequels to this movie, because we recently got a prequel with the Acolyte show for Star Wars, and I feel like there's more stories they can tell before The Phantom Menace, and I really hope they do that, as a matter of fact. Next up on our list, we have the only two Transformers movies that have reached the $1 billion club, which is Transformers: Age of Extinction and Transformers: The Dark of the Moon. And I don't really remember the Transformers movies very much, but I am going to have to rewatch them all so I can have my thoughts refreshed for the next time I do this tier list for the $1 billion movies. And I haven't done a ranking of the Transformers movies yet, but I really want to. So yeah, I will be sure to do that, as a matter of fact. But I remember not being real crazy with Age of Extinction, so I think it's fair to put this one on the meh tier. And then I remember liking The Dark of Moon, but again, my thoughts are not fresh on this movie, so I am gonna have to stick this one on the okay tier, because I also think that that's pretty fair as well. Next up on our list, we have the live-action Aladdin. I love this movie. This is probably my second favorite live-action Disney remake, as a matter of fact. And I am gonna have to stick this one in best to the best, but it's a tough spot. I think I'm gonna have to stick it right there. I can't quite put it above The Phantom Menace. But so yeah, I do think the live action Aladdin is one of the best Disney live action remakes, as a matter of fact. Next up, we have Aquaman. I actually think this movie is like one of the better DCEU movies, in my opinion, and I like Aquaman a lot. I would say, minus Batman, he's probably my favorite superhero in the DC movies. I would say, out of the DC superheroes, my top three are Batman, Aquaman, and the Flash. And for this movie, I kind of wish I can put it in best of the best, but thinking about what else is going to be on this list, I think I'm going to have to put it on the great tier, because because I really do like the first Aquaman. But there is gonna be, but trust me, there's gonna be a lot of other movies that I prefer that are definitely going in best of the best. Next up on our list, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. So, in case you guys don't know, all four of the Avengers movies are reaching the $1 billion club, and we're getting two more Avengers movies in the MCU. And I'm not so sure how well those are going to do at the box office. But it would be pretty impressive if the both of them made $1 billion to also add to this list as well, as a matter of fact. So with Avengers Age of Ultron, I do think this is one of the most hated MCU movies, but what I also think is that this is probably the worst out of the Avengers movies, but it's not a bad movie by any means, so I am going to have to put it on the good tier as well, because I still think it's a pretty good movie in my personal opinion. Next up on our list, we have Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, and these are both going at the top of best of the best, because I love both of those movies. Those are probably like the top two best MCU movies that we have ever gotten, and I am really impressed with the both of these movies. I think they're both pretty damn great, as a matter of fact, and yeah, they will probably forever be the top two MCU movies, and I do not even have to list off why they're at the top of best of the best. Next up on our list, we have the live action Beauty and the Beast, and this is my favorite out of the Disney live action remakes, as a matter of fact, and I am gonna have to put this one in best to the best as well. And so yeah, if you guys have followed me for any determined amount of time, you guys all know I love Beauty and the Beast. I even love the animated one just as much as the Disney live action remake. And same thing with Aladdin. I love the original one as well, but the live action one is still pretty good as well. And I love the live action Beauty and the Beast, and I'm not so sure if there will ever be. I don't think there will even be another animated. I'm not animated. Excuse me. I don't think a there will ever be a live action remake that will top this movie, in my opinion. Next up on our list, we have Black Panther. This is another one that's going in best the best, and we got Captain America: Civil War. I think this is another one that's also going in best the best. I'm not so sure where I should put these two movies. Yeah, I'll leave them at the back for now, but additionally, those two movies, in my opinion, are some of the best MCU content, and probably two of the best MCU movies that we have ever gotten in the entire MCU so far. Next up on our list, we have the Captain Marvel. So now with this one, this is another MCU movie that I think is way overhated. I mean, it is not the best. It's not the best Marvel movie. I will give you that, but it's definitely better than a lot of the other MCU movies. But obviously, by a landslide, this movie is better than the Incredible Hulk. But I think with Captain Marvel, I'm gonna have to go the good tier above Age of Ultron with this movie. And then next up on our list we have The Dark Knight, and this is probably one of the best, if not the best, Batman movie ever made, in my opinion. And with this one, this is a hard one. I think I'm gonna go above. Can I put it above Jurassic World? All right, I have to. I gotta put it above. I gotta put it above Jurassic World. I can't quite put it above there, as a matter of fact. But speaking of the Dark Knight trilogy, next up is The Dark Knight Rises, and I don't remember this one as well, but I do remember this one being a pretty decent movie in my opinion, and I think I'm gonna have to put this one above Aquaman on the great tier. But like I said, I don't remember this movie as much, but at the very least, it is a great movie in my opinion. Next up on our list, we have the live action Lion King. So now, I am not sure why this movie gets so much controversy. Like, if people hate this movie so much, why is it $1 billion club movie? I just don't get it at all. Why is this movie $1 billion? I I don't understand. But in my opinion, this movie is better than the live action Alice in Wonderland. So it is definitely gonna go above that somehow. I don't know if I could put it above Avengers Age of Ultron, but I do think it's one of the better Disney live action remakes. And yeah, I like the soundtrack to this movie, even though it's the exact same thing as the original. Even though it's not best of the best here for me, I still like this movie just as much as the cartoon one in my opinion, though. Next up on our list, we have Avatar, and I have never been a fan of Avatar, and I do not care for any of these movies, so I have to go bad tier with the first Avatar. I'm sorry for you Avatar fans. Next up on our list, we have Finding Dory. So now this is a good Pixar sequel in my opinion. I would say I prefer it a little bit more over Finding Nemo, but they're pretty good in my opinion. But but so yeah. With this one, hmm. I have. I think I'm gonna have to put this one on the great tier because I really do think it's a good, solid Pixar movie, in my opinion. Next up on our list, we have Frozen. So now, I actually have a special place in my heart for Frozen. And with this movie in particular, I love the first Frozen. Like I said, I love the first Frozen, and I said previously that the second one was a downgrade for me, but yeah, the first one is going pretty high up there. Um I think I would have to put it above the Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest, but it's pretty damn close to the top though. But yeah, I love the first Frozen. Next up on our list, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, a fantastic conclusion to the Harry Potter franchise. And they keep saying they're going to make a movie for the Cursed Child. And to be honest, I don't think they're going to do, because there has not been any reports on this movie. And I'm going to but yeah, and I hope they never do it, because it will ruin Harry Potter. But yeah, I hmm um I will put it right here actually, because yes, I think Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is like is one of the most fantastic conclusions I have ever seen to an entire movie franchise. And yeah, it's probably the third best Harry Potter film in my opinion, just because I think The Goblet of Fire is my favorite Harry Potter film, and I do think the one before that, The Prisoner of Azkaban, is pretty good too. But with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, it has all the intention to become the best Harry Potter film, in my opinion, and it is pretty great. Next up on our list, we have Iron Man 3. So now, this is another MCU movie I think is way overhated. And I'm gonna stick this one on the good tier because I still think this is a good movie, but it is definitely overhated in a couple of different ways, in my opinion. And to be honest, I'm not so sure what they're gonna do with the Ironheart series, because Robert Downey Jr. Is not playing Iron Man anymore, and what I'm anxious to see, if it's truthfully gonna be about Iron Man, if it's gonna be about War Machine, or if it's gonna be about um the Iron Man girl in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I can't remember her name right offhand, but I'm anxious to see if it's gonna be about one of those characters, as a matter of fact. But so yeah. I do think Iron Man 3 is a good movie. I would say the first two Iron Mans are probably better than the third one, but I think all the Iron Man movies are good in their own way, though. Next up on our list, we have the Joker movie, and we're getting a sequel in October, I believe, is when it's coming out. And I'm anxious to see and hear if this movie if the sequel is also going to reach $1 billion, because this one did. And to be honest, this is in the top 10, at least for all of the DC movies, as a matter of fact. So, can I put it? I'm not so sure if I could put it above The Dark Knight Rises, but I'm gonna put it there on the great tier. Next up we have the first Jurassic Park. And I said it before, the first Jurassic Park is also great, and it's going right next to the first Jurassic World and the best of the best here. And both of these movies are pretty damn good, as a matter of fact. And I'm really happy that the both of these movies made $1 billion, because I really do I enjoyed both of those movies. And what I'm very anxious to see, since they have another trilogy planned, I'm very anxious to see what they're gonna do and what they're gonna cook up, as a matter of fact. But so yeah, the both of those movies are pretty good, as a matter of fact. But speaking of Jurassic Park, we have Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom. And this is another bad movie, because yeah, this I was incredibly disappointed by this movie. And to be honest, this is the Jurassic Park movie that I despise the most. The second Jurassic Park movie, The Lost World, it's I do think Jurassic Park 3 is pretty good. Same thing with Jurassic World Dominion. I know a lot of you people hate Jurassic World Dominion, but I didn't. I thought it was pretty good though. But then you have the first two on the list, which is the first Jurassic Park and the first Jurassic World. And both of those movies are pretty good, but this one is not. It derailed the Jurassic World movie just like that. And to be honest, I'm kind of annoyed that they're doing another trilogy because I don't know how good all those movies are going to be because there's a big dud in here, and then there's a little bit of a dud with The Lost World, and then there's two movies that I think are pretty good and pretty decent, and then you have these two movies that are flat out best of the best tier for the $1 Billion Club tier list. And next up on our list, we have Minions. I'm not gonna put this one above Iron Man 3, but I am gonna put it at the back of the good tier because, like I said, I don't think there is a bad Despicable Me movie at all. And like I said, I don't know why Despicable Me 3 and the first Minions have reached the $1 Billion Club because these are the bottom tier Despicable Me movies, and to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed that Despicable Me 4 has not reached the $1 Billion Club because it's right there. Because for me personally, it is right there with the first two Despicable Me movies. Next up, we have Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about this movie very much. I think I'm gonna put this one at the top of great. It's not one of the best Star Wars movies, but it is damn near perfect. And I do think this is one of the better Star Wars movies. There's been a worse Star Wars content than this movie, but I really do like how this prequel. I do really like how this story took place before A New Hope, and I like how we got a little bit of a prequel to A New Hope, as a matter of fact. Next up on our list, we have Spider-Man: Far From Home, and this is probably my favorite live-action Spider-Man movie, and I feel like this is the most underrated Spider-Man movie as well. I'm gonna put it right there on the great tier. And I say that because I like how this movie takes place after Avengers Endgame, and I like how it closes out the Infinity Saga. Technically, Avengers Endgame does, but Spider-Man: Far From Home actually was the last movie that was in Phase 3, and this movie technically takes place after Avengers Endgame. And in this movie, they tell a little bit about how everybody reappeared and came back when everybody disappeared in Avengers Infinity War, if you get what I'm saying. Next up on our list, we have Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and this is probably the best movie in the sequel trilogy, and I'm going to put it at the top of the great tier. So now with this one in particular, it is the best movie out of the sequel trilogy. I will 100% say that. But I like how this movie sets up a new trilogy for Star Wars. And this movie is pretty good in my opinion. And to be honest, we are getting a story that takes place after the rise of Skywalker, and it's not confirmed if that's going to be classified as episode 10, but if it is, there's a possibility that they're going to make a whole nother Star Wars trilogy. But overall, the sequel trilogy, to be honest, we'll talk about the rest of it right now because these next two movies are up. And next up we have Star Wars The Last Jedi. Bad tier. This is by far the worst Star Wars movie in my opinion, and to a lot of Star Wars fans, this is the worst Star Wars movie, and this movie disappointed me a lot, and this movie derailed Star Wars and almost broke the whole fandom. And my big issue is with this movie is that they didn't take it in the direction like a lot of other Star Wars fans wanted. And yeah, I just do. This is the Star Wars movie that I am least likely to rewatch, as a matter of fact. And to be honest, yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna like this movie. Next up on our list, we have Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. And with this movie, I do think it's overhated, but I do think this is a good conclusion to the Star Wars franchise. I don't think it's satisfying, and I don't think it's top tier like Avengers Endgame or Lord of the Rings: Return of the King or Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I'm at Part 2. But I still think it's a pretty good movie, and it doesn't really deserve the hate that it gets. But yeah, I am gonna put it on the good tier though, because in my personal opinion, it is better than Solo. And it's definitely better than The Last Jedi. And they even did a Clone Wars movie, and this movie was even better than that one. But other than that, if we're just talking about the Star Wars movies, those are the only three Star Wars movies that I think it's better than. But yes, The Rise of Skywalker, I still think it's a pretty good movie, but I will agree it is not the best Star Wars movie. Next up, we got the first Avengers, and with this one, I am gonna have to put this one on the great tier. I can't quite go above Rogue One, but I am definitely gonna put it above Spider-Man Far From Home, because I do think this is one of the better MCU movies, and it's definitely better than Age of Ultron, but it's not better than Avengers Infinity War or Endgame. You should have known that right before you clicked on this video. But yeah, I really do like the first Avengers. I really do. Next up on our list, we have Fate of the Furious. This is the 8th Fast and Furious movie, and I'm going to have to stick this one above Furious 7. And to be honest, Hobbs and Shaw is my favorite out of the Fast and the Furious movies. But if we're excluding that, Fate of the Furious is my favorite Fast and the Furious movie. And I know that's controversial because not a lot of people really put it. Nobody really puts it in the top 5. But personally, I do think that this movie is pretty great. And with this one, I like how we get to see all minus Cypher, every villain that has been a part of this franchise has become a good guy at the end of the movie. Like, even though they never sat down at this table, we see Deckard Shaw and his brother Owen Shaw doing the good stuff at the end of this movie. And this movie is pretty good in my opinion, and it is by far the best Fast and the Furious movie in my personal opinion. Next up on our list, we have The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. I'm going to put this one on the great tier. I do think the Hobbit trilogy is overhated, but personally, I like the Hobbit trilogy just as much as the Lord of the Rings movies. And to be honest, I am not so sure why I am not so sure why the Hobbit movies get so much hate, because I will agree that the Battle of the Five Armies is the worst one out of the Hobbit trilogy, but still, I think all the Hobbit movies are pretty good, and I don't think this one deserves the hate that it gets. Next up on our list, we have The Incredibles 2, and I'm gonna have to put this one on the great tier. I'm gonna put it above Finding Dory, but I can't put it above any of these other movies. Yeah, I can't put it above any of these other movies, but yeah. I do think The Incredibles 2, and to be honest, there's not a whole lot of bad Pixar movies. There is a couple of Pixar movies that I don't particularly care for, but the rest of them are just pretty great in my opinion. And yeah, I really do like The Incredibles 2 a lot, and I'm excited to see The Incredibles 3. Next up on our list, we have Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. And this is tough because I have a lot in best to the best. I'm not so sure if I can put it above the live action Aladdin, but it's damn near with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. But yeah, I can put it above The Dark Knight, but I can't put it above the live action Aladdin. And I actually heard that Lord of the Rings: Return of the King is won Best Picture for how amazing this movie is, and I'm glad and I'm happy to hear that, because out of every single Middle-earth movie, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King is the best movie out of all the Middle-earth stuff. This is the best movie, and I cannot wait to see what the next Lord of the Rings movie brings, because we are getting a Lord of the Rings movie called The Hunt from Gollum, and I cannot wait to see what that movie's all about. Titanic is next. This is another one that I've not seen, and now that I'm actually looking at what we got left, those are the only two movies on this list that I've not seen, but I will get around to watching them eventually. Next up on our list, we have Toy Story 3. So now, for the longest time, I have said this is the worst Toy Story movie, and I've said it was bad before, and then I said it was meh, and then okay, but then I've grown to really think it's a good movie, but it's still not one of my absolute favorite Pixar movies. So, like I said, I've grown to like and appreciate this. Actually, I do think that this movie is a little bit better than Minions. I have to put it at the back. Sorry, guys, but yeah, Toy Story 3, I do think is a pretty good movie, but additionally, it's not my favorite Pixar movie. So it loses some points for that. Next up on our list, we have Toy Story 4, and this is my favorite Pixar movie, and I am going to have to put this one in best to the best. We are getting a Toy Story 5, and we've already seen the first look of Toy Story 5 when D23 happened, and with this one in particular, I'm definitely curious to see what Toy Story 5 is about. But yes, personally, if this ends up being a little bit better than Toy Story 3, I am definitely going to appreciate that a lot. But But yeah, Toy Story 4 is definitely my favorite Pixar movie. If you followed me for any determined amount of time, you guys should know by now that this is my favorite Pixar movie. Next up on the list, we have Zootopia, and we're finally getting a sequel to Zootopia. So, I actually remember going to see this movie in the theater, and I cannot wait for the sequel. And I am happy that that we are getting another Zootopia movie, because a second Zootopia is needed, and a second Zootopia is flat out necessary, because I really do think the first Zootopia is pretty great. Next up, we have Harry Potter and the Sorcerers of Stone. This is another one that I'm actually going to throw on the great tier. I am going to put it above the first Avengers, but I can't put it above these, though. But it is a pretty great movie, in my opinion, and I don't even have to list off why the first Harry Potter is great. Next up on our list, we have Spider-Man No Way Home. And I can't quite put this one in best of the best, but I am going to put it right next to Spider-Man Far From Home on the great tier, because I still think it's a pretty good movie. And it is definitely one of the better Spider-Man movies, in my opinion. And yeah, I do like Doctor Strange as like our main side hero, just like how Iron Man was the main side character. And Spider-Man Homecoming. And with this movie, I cannot wait to see where they take Peter Parker next in the MCU. Next up on our list, we have Top Gun Maverick. This is another one I can't quite put in best to the best, but it is going pretty high up there. So I am gonna put it at the bottom of the great tier, because of how awesome it is. The special effects work in this movie is very stunning. I like how they done with the plane shots and like all the action shots that they did in this movie, and it was pretty great, in my opinion. Next up on our list, we have Jurassic World Dominion. So now with this one, I gotta be honest, this movie is the third best Jurassic Park movie, in my opinion. And I'm not so sure if I could quite put it in best of the best, but it is going somewhere on the great tier. I'm going to put it above The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. Yeah, I gotta put it right there, because I do prefer. I have a special place for all of these movies, but yeah, I do think Jurassic World Dominion is a pretty good movie. It is way overhated. I actually think it's one of the most overhated movies of 2022, as a matter of fact. And probably the most overhated Jurassic Park movie, because I do not think it's that bad at all. Next up, we got Avatar: The Way of Water. This movie sucks. It is the worst movie that I have seen by far that the $1 Billion Club has made, and yeah, I think this movie, yeah, like I said, I've never been a big Avatar fan, and I've never cared for any of these movies at all whatsoever, and so yeah, they just go on the bad tier for me. Next up, we have the Super Mario movie. And I really like the Super Mario movie. And I'm going to have to stick this one above Top Gun Maverick at the very least, on the great tier like that. I can't go much higher than that. just because everything else I really enjoy deeply on the great tier. But yeah, I do think I really do like the Super Mario Brothers movie. Like, I actually heard the critics hated this movie, and the audience score on this movie is pretty high as well. And to be honest, I cannot wait for the sequel for this movie. And yeah, we're getting Yoshi in the sequel, and what I'm more excited to see is who the villain is gonna be, and I'm really excited to see Wario and Waluigi in in the second movie, and I am definitely curious to see if they're gonna be like straight up villains like Bowser, or if they're gonna be like Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong's not really a bad guy, but he is an instigator in some spots, but for the most part, Donkey Kong is a good guy. But Wario and Waluigi are more like just straight up villains. Next up on our list, we have Barbie. And this is another great movie, in my opinion. I think for now, I'm going to put it above the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Uh, actually, I'm going to put it right there, actually. Because because I do think the Mario movie has a little bit more entertainment value than um than um than the Barbie movie, but yeah. They're both pretty good, as a matter of fact, and I'm really happy that the both of these movies have reached the $1 billion club, and I cannot wait to see what the next $1 billion movie is going to be. But next up, we have the two most recent entries. First up, we got Inside Out 2. So now with this one, I am going to have to stick it. I'm going to have to stick it right there, actually, at the bottom. Because recently, after watching the first Inside Out in preparation for Inside Out 2, and after seeing Inside Out 2, both of those movies actually reached the top 10. And I feel like with Inside Out 2, I actually think it overcame the first movie, and because I like it that much, and it is pretty good in my opinion. And I'm anxious to see if they'll even make this a trilogy and do another Inside Out, as a matter of fact, because the second one was pretty damn amazing. Last but not least, the most recent entry on this list, Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm going to have to stick this one in best of the best. I can't quite put it above Black Panther, but as of right now, it sticks with it sticks above these two right here, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I would say this is probably the best Deadpool movie so far, and this is probably one of the best X-Men universe movies that we have gotten. And it is pretty funny. It has a lot of cameos and references that I was a huge fan of. So yeah, I loved Deadpool and Wolverine. And it's definitely gonna be in my top 10 favorite movies at the end of the year, as a matter of fact. But so yeah, guys, that pretty much does it and wraps up this video for my tier list of every movie that has reached the $1 billion club. But let me know down in the comment section, guys, what is your least favorite and what's your favorite movie that has reached the $1 billion club? As a matter of fact, because as you guys can probably tell, there is not too many of these movies I truly dislike, as a matter of fact. So yeah, guys. So yeah. if you guys are new to the channel, I do more than just movies and physical media related content. I also play video games and I do Lego related stuff. So if you guys like to watch any of that stuff on YouTube, be sure to go check out my channel, because if you like any of that kind of stuff, there will definitely be something in there for you to enjoy. And share this video with your friends and click that red subscribe button, but most importantly, press that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And those of you guys that are not new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you go subscribe right after this video, guys. Without any further ado, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, as a matter of fact. But with that said, though, guys, take care, drink water, and stay safe. And I will see you all in the very next video. Bye.